How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Banger Gaming for the part 2, the second episode of the series of my Road to Glory campaign career mode with Stevenage Football Club. You'd have seen in the last episode we set up the career mode, we signed for the club, we saw what our budget was and we set up the youth system, and today we're going to get jumping right into some gameplay and getting on with our pre-season friendlies. I thought it'd be a good idea to quickly check out my objectives because I hadn't done that yet, and actually it seems pretty simple. There are some low requirements, there are some higher requirements, but at the end of the day, we're literally aiming for promotion. That's quite simply what we need to do here. If we get promoted, we'll get the money to tick off both of those boxes. Just having a look at the calendar. We've got 3 pre-season games. The second one is against Forest Green Rovers, so we'll be looking to win that one. But this is a bit of a strange one, actually. It's a weirder competition to normal because we're in a league table with a lot of teams, rather than in what seems to be like a tournament. So we'll see what happens there. This is what my team currently looks like. I'm just going to do some adjustments to my tactics. I like to play on a balanced defensive style. I like to crunch in the width and depth sometimes. And then you'll see with my attacking, I also like to stay a bit balanced. I really like direct passing. That's what works really well for me. Certainly playing out the back with 5 at the back, as I will be doing with Stevenage. And I also will adjust the instructions of my players, depending on who's staying forward and who's staying back. We're very big, we're tall, we're good in the air, so I'm going to put as many players in the box as possible. That does leave us a bit vulnerable at the back, but we'll have to deal with that when we get to it. But essentially, I want both of my strikers to stay forward. I want them getting in behind. I want them making the runs. I want them there, where I need them to be. Certainly, Elliot List. He is rapid, probably the quickest player outside of the championship. So it's really important that we're getting him making those runs and getting in behind. We're going to be getting Roberts to stay forward as well with them. So we're always going to have 3 players at least on the counter-attack. I want my wing-backs to be joining the attack. I'm going to allow Gilby to sort of free roam between the boxes. And I'm going to want Reevesy to stay back. So there's a little bit more of defensive cover in the middle when we are going on those counter-attacks. In terms of my youth academy, which I'm just going to go to now, things are looking okay. We've sort of put all of our eggs in one basket with this goalkeeper. I love to have a young goalkeeper that we can train up, so I'm hoping that he's going to come through. But we will have to see. But what we're going to do is we're going to get straight into the first of 3 games of the pre-season friendly.
All smiles ahead of kickoff. What sort of impact can he have at this club? We're about to find out. Stay with us on EA TV. Hello and welcome to this very pleasant, compact stadium, just a short walk from the Leverkusen-Mitte train stop, the BANGER Arena. I'm Derek Ray.
Okay, so here we go. We're going to get started then. The camera has reset, which is frustrating, so I'm going to just get into a bit of space and change that back to telebroadcast, which is what I play it on. But yeah, this is the first of 3 friendlies. I'm actually going to get all 3 friendlies completed in this video, so I will be just showing the key sort of moments and highlights. From this moment onwards, after the pre-seasons, it will just be 1 game per video, so there'll be far more gameplay of each of the games. I think our first game to come up is Salford City, which will be a big sort of test to start with. But essentially our aim here is just to get a feel of the players, play as many of them as we can, figure out who's going to be starting in the league games, who feels good, who feels bad, who we need to switch in, who we need to switch out, etc, etc.
Will there be any change of formations? These games are great to assess how these teams are evolving.
So we start pretty well. Things are quite balanced. We are playing 5 at the back, so we are going to be playing very defensively. I guess the key priority is to keep a clean sheet. It always is. As you can see, they are getting a bit close with some of their attacking options. But essentially, if we can keep clean sheets and maybe utilise 1 or 2 opportunities pushing forward, as you can see, using our wing backs and getting Elliot List in behind, you never know, we may nick some of these games, we may actually get a win. depending on what's actually happening in the game, depends on how hard we push it, really. But as you saw with the tactics, we're keeping things balanced. We're keeping players back, and we're going to try and get people on the counter-attack. So we're just sort of sitting back here, really. Well, that was close. And getting to grips with the game, really. Getting to grips with how the flow of the game is going to happen. This is probably the strongest team we are going to come up against. From looking at the 3 pre-seasons that we've got. As you can see, they're already on the front foot. They're already making the better opportunities. We're already on the back foot, making saves, making defences. But every now and then we do get on the attack, and then we get closed back down again. They are on us all the time, and that's really having an impact on our gameplay. We make a bit of a mistake with Piagiani there, and they're through. Unfortunately, we've got Ashby Hammond in goal. Annoyingly, he's on loan because we would like to keep a player quite like him. But we're going to half-time 0-0. We set out what we wanted to, really. Clean sheet. As long as we keep a clean sheet, that's all that matters, really. Because as long as we're getting points, as long as we're not conceding constantly, that shows that we're playing our gameplay, we're achieving our game plan, and we're doing what we need to. But we are making some mistakes at the back. We do have slow defenders in the middle, although they're talented, they're big. They are quite slow compared to some of these players that we're coming up against. And the AI are sort of just utilising that and playing around that as best they can. We get incredibly lucky there with Ashby Hammond again making an incredible save and pushing it onto the post. But we here have an example of our counter-attack. We push forward. We've got both strikers and Robert staying forward. But I think it's about time that we check out our bench and see what sort of subs that we can make. We need to sort of mix it up a bit. As I said at the start, we do need to try out different players, different options, see what we've got on the bench, what can come off the bench, and whether any players could actually have an impact on our game. This is the time to do it when it doesn't really matter. Before we get into the league and find out, at that point that we maybe should have built on our players and built on our team and maybe brought in a few signings. Unfortunately, we don't have the money to do that, so we're kind of stuck with what we've got. But we continue into the second half and we actually start making improvements. Clark there makes an incredible interception, and just like that we're through. The counter-attack works, List is through on goal, and Wallop straight in, top bins, and celebrates with the fans. And that's exactly the kind of gameplay that we're going for here. Sit back, let them come to us, maybe make an interception and get them on the break. We've got Elliot List up front. We're going to have a lot of teams going in for him and wanting to buy him throughout the season. It's important that we keep hold of him, certainly for this first season, because I do think he's going to have a huge impact, either starting, making those runs with that speed, or even coming on as an impact sub. Last second of the game here, we're through. We get an opportunity to have a big old shot at goal and we take it. But that's the end of that first game. We go in winning 1-0. We've achieved what we wanted to. We've got that clean sheet. And we've had an impact there where we've actually managed to score a goal. So that's actually a brilliant start. What I'm going to do in this second game is against Forest Green, which should be a weaker side than what we've just played. So we're actually going to bring on a whole new set of players. We're going to try out different ways of playing with this team and see if any other combinations of players coming off the bench, coming out of the reserves can have an impact. I'm going to put Norris on the bench. I know that I said in the previous video that he's not a typical FIFA player, and he isn't. But at this level, there's an opportunity that he may have an impact on our game. So I'm going to leave him on the bench. And depending how we get on, it's likely I might bring him on. Just going to check out the kits. Things don't look to be clashing there. So just like that, we're going to get into our second pre-season game.
Absolutely no complaints on the weather front. It's an ideal day for football here in Dortmund at the Signal Iduna Park. My name is Derek Ray.
Okay, and we're off then for the second of 3 pre-seasons on this Road to Glory career mode with Stevenage Football Club. First game went incredibly well. We played it exactly how we needed to. This game, I think we will have more of an impact. I hope we do anyway. We get off to a flying start. Rose is already in and slots it past the goalkeeper. So as you can see, there's already a difference between the two teams and the two styles of play that we had. We go in early doors 1-0, which makes a huge difference to confidence and the way that we can play this game. Essentially, they now need to come onto us, and we may even get an opportunity to get them on the counter. The thing I noticed immediately in this game is how effective Campbell's been, and I almost feel like there's a massive shot there. That would have been an incredible goal if Reeves just got it a little bit more on top of the ball and got it under the goal, under the crossbar. But Campbell's made a huge impact on this game already, and almost sort of solidifies his place in the team, possibly over Gilby. That may be something to consider or even look at in future games. But this through ball is just constantly working. List is making that run through the gap. We're finding him through that gap. And then unfortunately that opportunity does go completely to waste. But that is the gameplay. We get into the second half, not much else happened in the first half in terms of highlights. We go in 1-0 up, which is exactly where we want to be. We want to be on that clean sheet, and we want to be making a difference in front of goal. Again, Campbell making a huge impact. List making those wonderful runs through the middle. He's unfortunate there to stumble over the ball. And now we're going to make some subs. We're going to bring Norris on. We're going to give him that opportunity to impress us. We're going to bring Tanubu on. He's one of our youngsters. And we're going to rest a few players as well by bringing on Michael Boswick, who's a Borough legend in the making. But yeah, essentially this is all about Norris, really. Can Norris have an impact on this game? Has he earned a spot on the bench or even in the starting team? And almost instantly, there's a difference again. There's a more power going in up front. And just like that, we're through on goal with Smith. Norris makes a wonderful run in the middle, picks up the ball and blasts it top bins. Right in front of the fans again. And just like that, he's put his name on the team sheet. He's put his name on my radar. And he's kind of lifting himself out of the reserves team. Not just because of that goal, but from other highlights that you wouldn't have seen, he has had a huge impact on this game. And wonderfully, we go in to the third game, not conceding a single goal, and has scored 3 goals. So we're 3-0 in terms of aggregate. Went 1-0 on the first one, 2-0 on the second one. Couldn't be happier with that position. We now get ready then for the third game. Just having a look at the team again. And having a look at any players that may sort of we could maybe consider for a start. You'll see that I've moved Norris up front with List. I'm going to give him an opportunity to start the game up there. Campbell's getting promoted up to the bench because he had such an impact on the game in that one. And essentially this is what pre-season is all about for me. It's just that trial and error. Who's fitting where? I'm starting Reed in instead of Reevesy, giving him a chance to improve himself, and we're going to go into the third game.
Hello and welcome to the Signal Iduna Park. I'm Derek Ray, and I'm joined here on the gantry for commentary by Stuart Robson. And we have pre-season.
And just like that, pre-season comes essentially to an end. We're in our third game now. And here is another opportunity to try and keep that clean sheet. Try and practice pushing on that counter-attack. Trying out a few more players in different positions, different styles, different combinations. And this game we start with Norris and List up front for the first time to see if they can have an impact as a duo. And maybe even start the season as our collective striking force. They've both impressed so far. Let's see if they can have an impact together as a starting duo in this team. We get an early shot off, which is nice to see, and we're instantly putting the pressure on. Our wing backs are playing nice and high, which is good when we're in this position. We've got players forward. We're really putting the pressure on. List there makes another wonderful ball to James Wilding, who's been a bit iffy in this pre-season, but Norris manages to slot another goal away, which essentially cements his position as a starting striker for the league game coming up against Salford. It's an excellent start from him, and he has really convinced me that he's ready for the step up to the starting 11. Instantly again we have List making that beautiful run. We do find him, he whacks it, unfortunately does miss. Norris picks it up on the edge, slots it back, and just like that we're 2-0 up, 17 minutes in, and essentially putting this game to bed already. We still have not conceded. Our defensive strategy is working incredibly well. And it's something that we're going to be completely focusing on as we go through this career mode and throughout the league. They do come back at us just before half-time, which normally happens, the 45th minute goal, but we do manage to go in without conceding and have scoring 2. So we're on top, we're exactly where we want to be. The game plan is going as it should be. Second half now, we're 45 minutes away from playing these 3 games and not conceding, which was the ultimate challenge really. And it's good to see again that we're putting pressure on. We've tried a different combination of players here. Reed has stepped up. We're going to make some subs. We bring off Norris and we give some other players a chance. We bring Rose back on. We bring a Mu on, who we haven't seen much of. We're giving Smith a go in the middle as well, one of our youthful players. And just like that, Rose is already making a wonderful run there. And what an incredible goal he's just scored. Absolutely stunning. Takes about 3 players on, runs through, slots it right into the back corner. And again, having that impact that we want to see from him. He's through again, and they have no option but to slice him down, which gives the Borough Perlo, Jake Reeves, an opportunity to have a shot on target here from a free kick. Something I'm still figuring out with, certainly with these lower level players. I'm thinking if I have Martin Odegaard here, it would probably be going top bins, but with Reevesy, we do what we can. Does get it on target, does look good, but the keeper sees the flight and does an incredible job of just simply catching it and making it look rubbish. We're 1 minute away now from the end of this pre-season friendly, hoping just to hold out. They play an incredible ball through there, and it ends in Ashby Hammond's hands. And we played our 3 pre-season games without conceding a single goal. So that gives me the confidence that I need, that the structure of the team is where it should be. Just one last thing here before we sort of progress onto the part 3 and the next episode of this season. We do have some important updates, which is that our scouts have come back and they've told us about the scout reports for all of the players that we've got a keen eye on for future purposes. So we've now got them in our squad hub, which is perfect. Sorry, our transfer hub. And we can just simply keep an eye on them. What does intrigue me is that it looks like pre-season's over. Normally we now get a semi-final and a final. But I don't know what's happened there. We can have a look at that maybe in the next episode. But that brings me to the end of this episode. Pre-season is over. We're now ready. We're set. We're going to go for the league. We've got Salford up next. We're going to have a look at our scouting reports in the next episode. Please do subscribe. Please do come back. And from me, Danny, thank you for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.